Welcome back to the podcast to Philippe. And today, we're doing a deep dive into the world of AI.
Oh, very exciting.
It is very exciting. Specifically, we're going to be looking at Google's latest AI,
Okay.
Gemini 2.0 Flash.
I've heard some things.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of buzz around this update.
Yeah.
And it's really because it promises to change how we consume content on YouTube.
Interesting.
So,
How so?
well, it claims to be able to accurately summarize videos.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So imagine like you're trying to find a recipe for a cake
Right.
and you've got this long, cooking video,
hmm
but you don't want to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, who has time for that?
Exactly. You just want to grab the ingredients and the
Right.
instructions.
Makes sense.
Gemini says it can do that.
Wow, so it can just pull up those key points without you having to watch the whole video.
That's the idea.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And that's just one example.
Right.
Think about long tutorials or any kind of video where you just want the gist of it. This is where it gets interesting.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So I actually tested this feature myself
Oh, you did?
using my own podcasts on YouTube.
Oh, wow, using your own content.
Yeah. And the results were, a little surprising.
Oh, really? So it didn't quite live up to the hype?
We'll get into that in a bit. But
Yeah.
first, let's talk about how this technology actually works.
Okay, so how does Gemini 2.0 Flash actually do its magic?
So from what I understand, you give Gemini a YouTube link,
Right.
and the AI analyzes the video,
Uh-huh.
and it pulls out what it thinks are the key points.
Okay, so it's using the video content itself, not just like the description or the tags.
Exactly. It's actually looking at the video content.
Wow, that's fascinating.
And to access this feature, you need to enable the 2.0 Flash thinking with apps setting in Gemini.
Okay, so it's not just automatically on, you have to go in and turn it on.
Right. You have to opt in.
Gotcha.
And there's also a specific requirement for sharing the YouTube link.
Okay.
It has to be copied using the platform's share option.
So not just copy and pasting the URL from the address bar.
Right. It has to be from that share button.
Interesting little quirk there.
Yeah. And now back to my little experiment.
Right, you tested it with your own podcasts.
Yeah. And what Gemini 2.0 Flash wasn't really able to accurately summarize the content.
Oh, wow. So even with your clear and concise podcasting style, it still struggled.
It seems like it.
So maybe this whole AI summarization thing isn't quite as advanced as we thought.
Well, it definitely highlights the limitations of current generative AI.
Yeah, I mean, even with all the progress we've made, accurately summarizing complex information from video is still a big challenge.
Absolutely. And it seems like the accuracy of Gemini 2.0 Flash really depends on.
Yeah. What are some of the factors that affect its performance?
Well, the quality of the source material, for one,
That makes sense.
and the complexity of the topic being discussed.
Yeah, I can see how that would be an issue.
If the video is all over the place or if the topic is really nuanced,
Right.
it's going to be harder for the AI to pull out those key points.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Not at all.
It really depends on the content itself.
Exactly.
This raises a really interesting question, though.
What's that?
Can we really rely on AI
Right.
to give us like a truly complete understanding of a video's content?
Especially when you consider the potential impact on content creators.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole other can of worms.
I mean, think about it.
Okay.
Will people still watch full videos if they think they can get the gist through an AI summary?
That's a good point. I mean, why spend 20 minutes watching a video
Exactly.
when you can get the main points in 2 minutes?
Right. And what does that mean for YouTubers who rely on ad revenue?
Yeah, that could really disrupt their whole business model.
Potentially. And on the flip side, this feature is free.
Oh, that's right. It's accessible to everyone.
Anyone with a standard Google account can use it,
So that could lead to really widespread adoption.
even with its current limitations.
Exactly. People love free and convenient.
It's true.
But yeah, the implications for content creators are huge.
They really are.
This could be a game changer for the whole YouTube ecosystem.
It really could.
And it's just one example of how AI is starting to impact
Yeah.
every aspect of our lives.
It's fascinating and a little bit scary all at the same time.
I agree. It's a brave new world we're entering.
It certainly is.
It's true. And that easy access could really drive adoption, even with, the limitations that we're talking about.
Yeah. But like you said, the implications for content creators are pretty significant.
Absolutely. I mean, imagine
Yeah.
YouTubers having to change their entire strategies.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe focusing on, shorter content
Right.
or finding ways to offer something unique
Right.
that an AI can't easily summarize.
It's almost like they have to become
Yeah,
even more innovative
absolutely.
in how they engage their audiences.
It's like this technology is pushing them
Yeah,
to be more creative, to think outside the box.
exactly. And to really understand what their audience wants.
Right, because if people can just get the gist from a summary, then creators need to give them a reason to watch the whole thing.
A reason to stick around.
Exactly.
And this really underscores a broader trend we're seeing with AI.
What's that?
This need to adapt.
Yeah.
Find ways to leverage these tools
Right.
while still preserving that human element
That's key.
that makes content engaging and valuable.
Because at the end of the day,
Yeah,
people connect with people,
right.
not algorithms.
It makes you wonder about the future
Yeah.
of our relationship with technology.
It realizes.
Are we headed toward a world where AI just curates and filters all of our information for us?
It's possible. I mean, the allure of convenience and efficiency is strong.
It's hard to resist.
Right. But we have to be careful
Yeah,
about giving up too much control to AI, especially when it comes to understanding complex information.
right, because there's a risk
Yeah,
of becoming overly reliant on these AI summaries
absolutely.
and losing the ability to critically evaluate information ourselves.
It's like we might become mentally lazy.
Right, just accepting what the AI tells us without questioning it.
Exactly, and that's a dangerous path.
It is, because critical thinking is more important now than ever.
I agree. We need to be able to sift through information,
Right.
identify bias,
Yeah.
and form our own conclusions.
And that brings us back to the question of accuracy.
Right. Can we really trust AI to accurately summarize complex information?
Especially when the source material itself might contain bias or misinformation.
That's a huge issue because these AI models are trained on vast amounts of data.
Right.
And if that data is flawed,
Yeah.
then the AI's output will be flawed too.
So it's not just about the AI itself.
No, it's about the entire ecosystem, the
Right.
data it's trained on, the way it's developed.
The whole thing.
Exactly.
We have to be aware of these limitations.
And approach AI-generated summaries
Yeah.
with a healthy dose of skepticism.
I like that. A healthy dose of skepticism.
Because AI is a tool.
Right.
It's not a replacement for human judgment.
It's a means to an end. It seems like there's this constant tension
Yeah, I feel it too.
between the potential benefits of AI
Right.
and the need to be cautious about its limitations.
It's a balancing act, for sure.
We want to harness the power of AI,
Yeah.
but we also want to stay in control.
And make sure it's being used ethically
Exactly.
and responsibly.
You mentioned earlier that Google seems to be positioning itself
Yeah.
as a leader in the AI space with this update.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
I mean, by integrating Gemini with its existing services.
yeah, like YouTube Maps search.
They're creating a powerful ecosystem
Yeah.
that could rival any of the other big players out there.
But doesn't this integration also raise concerns
Oh, absolutely.
about data privacy
Yeah.
and these companies having even more control over our online experiences?
It's a valid concern for sure. I mean, the more integrated AI becomes into our lives,
Yeah.
the more important it is to have open and honest conversations
Right.
about data privacy and how our information is being used.
And make sure the right safeguards are in place.
Absolutely.
It's like we're only just scratching the surface
It does feel that way.
of the ethical and societal implications of AI.
It's a rapidly evolving landscape,
Yeah.
and we're all figuring it out as we go.
And these conversations
Right.
are so important
They're essential.
as we navigate this brave new world.
I agree. We need to be having these discussions now,
Exactly, before it's too late.
before AI gets too far ahead of us.
Right. It really is. And, it's a lot to think about. But we've covered a lot of ground here today
We have.
about the potential benefits
Right.
and drawbacks of Gemini 2.0 Flash.
Absolutely.
But ultimately,
Yeah.
the decision of whether or not to use it
Right.
is a personal one.
It is. Each individual has to weigh the pros and cons.
Exactly. And figure out what works best for them.
And for their own consumption habits.
Right. So I want to leave our listeners with this thought.
Okay, I'm listening.
As AI becomes more and more prevalent in our lives,
Yeah, it's only going to get more integrated.
will you embrace the convenience of these AI-generated video summaries?
Yeah, will you just let the AI do the work for you?
Or will you choose to stay in control?
Right. Will you take the time to watch the full video and form your own opinions?
Of your own content consumption?
It's a choice we all have to make.
It is, and there's no right or wrong answer.
Exactly. It's about what feels right for you.
So it's definitely something to think about.
Absolutely, because AI is here to stay.
It is.
And it's changing the way we live and interact with the world.
So we need to be conscious of
Yeah.
how we use it.
And how it's using us.
Exactly. Well, on that note,
Yeah.
I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
It's been a fascinating conversation.
It has, and a big thank you to you for joining me today.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And of course, to all of our listeners out there.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for joining us on the podcast to Philippe.
We appreciate your support.
Don't forget to like this video
And subscribe to our channel.
for more deep dives.
Into the world of tech and innovation.
Until next time.